Hello, good morning. My name is Akin Fajolo. As I mentioned in our first episode, which represents our launching of my .md, where we position ourselves to deliberate and to disseminate health information to our people locally, nationally, internationally, and the world at large. As it is well known that health is important to wealth generation because there is no way you achieve wealth without being in a good state of health. In that early episode, we tried to define health and we embrace the definition of health as put forward by the World Health Organization in 1948. So today, we are moving forward by determining the factors that affect our health. What are those factors that determines where we are in the spectrum of health? Whether you are in a perfect health or you are in a poor state of health. It's also been well established that there is health inequity. There is differential, a lot of gap in the state of health among the population. And this can be explained by so many of these factors, and we put together these factors under different categories. The biggest of this category, so to say, is the social, economic, and the environmental factors. Then the personal characteristics and behavior, the educational factor, the employment, the technology, the genetic factors. So we see that in all these factors, we can all have them under the biggest environment umbrella, which we call the socioeconomic and environmental factors. There is abundance of evidence that has linked socioeconomic status to health, as it is well known that people in the high socioeconomic class, they tend to have a better health status than people in the low socioeconomic class. There is need for all concerned to come together and bridge the gap of the inequitable distribution of health in our communities and in the population, where our health is determined greatly by the conditions in where we grow, where we live, where we work, and what attention is paid to our aged population. These socioeconomic factors that we're talking about will help us to look into what kind of housings are available, what kind of model, because it's known that people who still live in the old houses that were painted with the lead-laden paints, where it's been known that these are deleterious and hazardous to growing children because of the lead content of the paint. The houses, are they well ventilated? Where are these houses located? How available are houses even for people to live? There are still people who are not under any, they're not accommodated. They're living on the street, even in this age. So housing is very, very important, and the quality of those houses that we're living in. Where do people work? Where do people work? The work environment is very, very important. There are work factors, the policies at work, even the people we work with. How stressful is the work? Because work stress is a key factor even to some of the non-communicable diseases such as high blood pressure, even diabetes, as it is. So this also needs to be looked into and make sure that the work environment is not hazardous to health. There are so many other hazards that are laden within the work environment itself People working also need to pay attention to the various protective devices that are available at work. One thing is to have these devices, it's a different thing to use these devices. The use of these devices needs to be enforced as to protect the health of people working in those places. Yes, we want to talk about the availability of water. How safe is the water? How much water is available, quantity wise and quality wise? Because water has been linked to diseases, water has been linked to the state of health. There are some water that you see that are not hygienic, they're not well treated, which predisposes people to some communicable diseases. We're not going to go into details about which kind of communicable disease, but we know generally diseases like diarrhea, like typhoid fever, they have been linked to poor water. And even some water have so much chemicals in them, so which are injurious to health. So that is a factor. And we know that employment is key. People need to work to earn money. People who don't have work or who are underemployed, they will not have enough money to take care of themselves and even to have access to health facilities. So money, employment is key. So people need to be fully employed, gainfully employed. So outside the employment, we'll talk about the behavioral characteristics of individual. People's behavior. What is your attitude towards your health? How much exercise do you do? What kind of food do you eat? What is the quality of food you eat? Because we know that people in high income earners, they eat better relatively than the low income earner because they can afford it. The low income earners will only make do with what they see, and most of these are things that are not healthy. They are too much of calories, and they end up gaining so much weight. And in an environment where exercise is played down, people will gain weight and have predisposition to problems of high blood pressure, problems of diabetes, and so on and so forth. So we encourage our people to, not just the people, the policymakers, the leaders, the politicians, the government at large needs to come together and make food available for people. That is food security. People need to be secured in terms of availability of food. So because it helps the population, it helps the immune system, and it helps the ability of the individual or group to be able to fight against disease. Disease should not be looked at in this with the aspect of just the causes of the disease. We need to look at the factors outside the health sector that will facilitate and promote the health of the people. And this needs a concise effort, group effort, multisectorial intervention that needs to be brought together by all concerns, both locally, nationally, internationally, and the world at large, to address the issue of health, without which health for the people, for all people, everywhere will be a great challenge. So we have put this together to sensitize us as individuals, to sensitize us as groups, to sensitize us as a population, to sensitize all the leaders, the politicians, the people that has the power to make changes, to pay attention to all these factors and to address them as we go, so that health for all will be achievable. Thank you so much. We shall be moving forward to the next section. We talk about and deliberate on the various levels, the levels of our healthcare services, and the levels of prevention of health. So we'll look forward to that, and I trust that we'll come together and learn more about this as we go on. Thank you for listening.